You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Let's discover hard cover months, but this enough so you can know what's up in the hood.
Hi, I'm Sasha Booker.
And I'm Chris Capone.
We're here with Hardcover News,
Chicago's source of teen news for the past 25 years.
Today's media is full of depictions of sexual behavior.
Everybody, including teenagers, are exposed to large sexual content on TV, radio, and online.
Media advises teenagers to think about sex on a daily basis.
We sent our reporter Drayvon Brown out to interview some teens.
Do you think the media has a major impact on why teens decide to have sex?
Yes, I do, because sometimes on like reality TV, there may be people there that younger people might look up to.
I think it does because actors are the people teens look up to.
Just the way that like women are presented in the media and like everything is really open and like sexual. I don't know.
Do you think that the media has a major influence on why teens decide to have sex?
I think their peers do, like their friends and stuff, you know?
Why do you think friends have an impact on why teens decide to have sex?
It's like everybody else is doing it, you know?
Are you aware of the consequences of having sex?
Yeah, I really am, because it's like you either catch HIVs or other such diseases like chlamydia and other stuff. So yeah, if I was y'all, I'd use protection.
Are you aware of the consequences of having sex?
Yeah, you get pregnant then you die.
Thank you, Drayvon Brown, for that report.
We took a survey of 130 CPS students from the Chicagoland area.
54% of those CPS students stated that they are sexually active.
Out of those 54%, only 41% admit that their parents do not know that their children are sexually active.
Speaking of parents, we interviewed a few of them on the issue.
What do you think influences teens' decisions to have casual sex?
Advertising.
Basically because everybody has sex, you know, animals, adults, teenagers, everyone has sex.
Have you spoken to your children or child about having sex?
Yes, I have. And we as a family talk about that every day. Well, not every day, but a lot.
With the generation now, what they doing, I think they do it more for entertainment, you know. They don't do it for what the value is supposed to be. Because, you know, there's no such thing as casual sex.
If they're not too young and they just use, you know, protection because everybody's going to do it anyways. I did it when I was a kid, so I know.
Those interviews brought to light what parents are and are not teaching their children.
The parents have one point of view, but let's see what the students have to say on the situation.
Have your parents talked to you about sex?
No, not really.
No, unfortunately, my parents didn't.
No.
Not really. I never really had one of those talks.
Not really, no.
If your parents did talk to you about sex, what would you imagine the conversations to be like?
They probably just tell me to use a condom or whatever.
Yeah, from a young age, they taught me about it and, you know, things to be careful of.
Well, on mom's side, mom's is like, she don't really care what I do as long as I leave protection and don't bring home no baby.
Yeah, they just say stay protective, you know? Don't have kids, don't do what they've done.
How would you define casual sex?
Just getting with a person for the pleasure of it, not because you care about them or nothing, you know, and like you'll never see them again.
Just doing it with someone you're not really in a relationship with, just doing it whenever you feel like it, but not being committed.
How would you define casual sex?
It matters, like, you either have sex with a lot of people, like, over a period of time, or you just have, like, an intimate relationship with somebody and then you have sex with her or whatever, him, you know? Yeah, so.
We also have the privilege to interview a professional. Let's take a look at what she says.
Planned Parenthood can be a great resource for teens about decisions to have sex at all or about decisions to have casual sex. Casual sex is any sexual activity that occurs outside of the context of a committed, loving relationship. Casual sex we often associate with not taking proper precautions, not having a committed discussion with your partner. Our teens are exposed from all media outlets, music, video, television, billboards, magazines. We live in a really highly sexualized society. The media offers a wonderful chance for teens to talk to each other, to support each other in choices to have sex or to not have sex, and also is a great talking point for parents and other adults that are involved in teens' lives to open up a discussion. I would really say trust yourself and find what your personal values are, because that is the most important thing that has to guide your decision. Then, second of all, get information that you need. Become informed about the risks of having sex.
Teenagers have progressed very fast in the past few years. We hope that the progression of the hormones are followed by the discussion with their parents.
We thank all teens, parents, and professionals for helping us with this news update.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Sasha. And this is Hardcover News.
Sex ain't all fun and games. Some use for pleasure, some for fame. He wants to get in your pants but don't know your name. Don't have sex, people call you lame. Some mistake sex and love, they think it's the same. He gets what he wants and leaves you going insane. Don't give in to the nonsense, don't think of the pleasure, think of the consequence, think of the consequences. They might prove to be more than you could conceive. Think of pregnancy, maybe even an STD. If you had sex, best use protection. Better yet, any other method to show your affection.
Hi, welcome to the Dijon Show. Today's topic is sexting. I have 3 guests that will answer questions on sexting and what's their definition about it. Our first guest is Jason. He's 18 and he goes to Carl Schurz High School. Jason, what do you think the definition of sexting is?
I think the definition of sexting has anything to do with, sending explicit messages or pictures to somebody through a phone, anything sexual.
Our next guest is Crystal. She's 17 years old, and she goes to Providence St. Mary's High School.
Well, my definition of sexting has changed due to a past experience, but at first I thought it was just a way of having fun. But then afterwards, I guess it's a very dangerous thing to do, you're exploiting yourself and sending nude pictures, sending people the wrong messages, and it's just bad.
Next guest is Mario, who's 18, and he goes to Marshall High School.
Well, to me, sexting is just sending sexual comments to another person over, phone.
Last but not least, Jamie, she's 17, and she goes to Sidewalk High.
Well, my definition of sexting is just sending very inappropriate pictures, sending a wrong message, a wrong message to the person that you're sending it to, and just being very disrespectful to your own self.
To you guys, what are the possible effects of texting?
Sexting can affect anybody, anybody can be a victim of it. If they make one mistake, it can be around the school in a matter of days, and their whole reputation is ruined, and it's embarrassing, and it just does so much more than just embarrasses them. It causes them traumatic pain, and although some people think it's fun and everything, it has really, really, really hard consequences, and you can't back away from that. Once your picture's out there, anything can happen.
It will affect very deeply to the person who is sending it, because rumors get around, so people will notice you. People will notice you everywhere, but not in the right message. They'll notice you in the wrong message that, surely you don't want to be, remembered by.
Well, from past experience, I had this one boyfriend, and me and him, we would joke around and send sexting messages, as you guys call it. And when we broke up, I guess he was still sort of angry, and he got jealous because I was talking to other guys. So he sent the pictures that I had sent him to all of his contacts, and they just started floating around school. And I was on a volleyball team, and my coach, she found out. She kicked me off of the team. And when I walked through the hallways, they'd look at me and I'd hear them whispering, "Oh, that's the girl." And the guys, they would just whistle and stuff. It was horrible. It made me feel so dirty, and it's just a thing you guys should think about before. You guys should think before you do.
Does it have any effect on you now as you got older and you passed the problem that went on?
Well, there are still days where, kids come up to me and they're like, "Hey, wasn't that you, nude in the pictures?" And I feel horrible, but, I say yeah, and I told them how it was a bad choice, and, it's the past, so I try to throw it over my shoulder, but the picture is still floating around, but it doesn't affect me as much as it did then. I just I'm learning from my mistakes.
Thank you. Our next question is, who does sexting impact most, males or females?
It definitely impacts girls more. I remember when I was younger, I had a girlfriend, and me and her, would sext, and I was very stupid. And one time, we got into a big fight, and I threatened to, send her picture to all of my contacts, and she didn't believe me. So I ended up doing it just to prove her wrong. And I didn't go to the same school as her, and I didn't really talk to her anymore after that. I guess we kind of broke up without officially breaking up. I found out from one of my friends that the stress that she got from all her friends and, the ridicules that she would face, she ended up trying to kill herself. And because she couldn't take it anymore, she had to transfer out of state. And I have no idea where she is now, and, I truly regret doing what I did.
I have a 14-year-old brother, okay, that that be doing those type of things, and I don't be getting mad at my brother, because he's my brother, he's a guy, I'm like, all I'm gonna tell him, okay, oh, oh, that's what's up, that, this and that, but I mean, like, for the girls behind my back, behind in my mind, I be thinking, like, what are these girls thinking, don't they know how to respect themselves, like had their mother be, telling them what to, how to play hard to get or something, because, to me, that's, negative in general. How old are the girls? The girls are, really, really young, 12, 13 years old, that's really young. That's just, very sad.
It's not good for either guys or girls to do it, because it'll just get around high school and stuff like that and with other people, and it'll be considered as child pornography if it goes into the wrong hands and stuff like that.
What you said about child pornography and sexting as opposed to putting it together, it is child pornography, because those kids are not considered to be able to have sex yet. So by them sending pictures of themselves as naked, showing all their body parts or anything about themselves that shouldn't be seen, period, that's considered child pornography. And it was a question that I had, but we didn't have I don't know if you guys got facts on it, but should they be criminally charged for it, for sending explicit pictures to one another and they're not old enough?
I think that if we're old enough to enroll in, to the military, the Army, and the Air Force and whatnot at the age of 17 or 18, I think it's 17 right now, I don't think that they should be too strict over a bunch of photos.
the same things that could happen to a teenager, okay, you know, it's like a boyfriend sending an ex-girlfriend's picture to over the internet. The same thing could happen, okay, with the 21-year-old, with the 23-year-old, okay, even a 30-year-old. I mean, like, the pictures can still end up on the internet. I just don't see a difference.
Well, actually, from what you said, they're already adults, so they're well aware of what they're doing. But if we speak from experience about other teenagers, some teenagers just do it because they think it's cool and stuff like that, so they don't think about what the consequences will be. But adults, there's not really like a large consequence for them because they're on their own. Nothing could happen. And they don't have to worry about rumors because they're outside of high school and maybe out of college, so there's nothing like consequential.
It's a big difference between teenagers and adults. I mean, if adults do it, that's just regular pornography. But if it's people under, no, I'm serious. If it's people under 18, then it's child pornography, and that's a crime. You know, even if they're both under 18, that's still child pornography. And I mean, although I don't think that people should get charged with it, if it were to fall into the hands of somebody who's over 18, who's an adult already, you know, they have pictures of, they can have pictures of you or, you know, anybody. They should be charged for a crime. You know, even if they didn't take the pictures, they still have them, and that's a crime.
A question from the audience just came in as he was saying was that would it affect you in your future as in getting jobs or any other type of thing, like basically about getting jobs and meeting new people, and like if your husband or your children would see it as they get older and they would see that it was you.
For employment, if you're applying to be a lawyer and a judge and a doctor or whatnot, if they see if the person hiring you, they may do some, you know, research on you, and if they find that picture, you know, I can assure you, you're probably not going to get the job.
Does it have any negative and positive effects, and does it have anything to do with trust?
Trust is a big issue in sexting. If you're willing to send intimate pictures of yourself to somebody, it not only shows that you're trusting them not to show anybody, but that, you know, you're trusting yourself to never, ever, like, what am I trying to say here? To never be in the position where he can threaten you and all that stuff, and you don't know that when you're doing it. You don't know if he's gonna send them in 2 weeks, 5 weeks, a year. You know, you're never gonna have that surety.
I think it has to do partially with trust, but it's, for us teens, it's kind of an involuntary action, I guess you could say, because as Jamie says, it's an in-the-moment thing, you know. If you're talking to a guy and he pulls up with a, oh, I like you and you're so pretty, send me a picture, like, oh my gosh, you want to send him that picture, so you send it to him, and once you click the send button, you start to think, you're like, oh my gosh, how is he gonna look at me any differently? So it's got its positives and its negatives, but the positives, it doesn't really last, but the negatives, they do.
A question from the audience was exactly how did sexting start? From my point of view, from what I read, was it started in 2005 when cell phones started, really technology started to get better and better, and it really got exposed.
2006, when I was in 7th, 8th grade, I had this brick phone. It was a Nextel phone, and it didn't have a camera, you know? But I still had texting, but I wasn't really into, you know, sending inappropriate messages. And as for the pictures, since I was stuck with the big brick-looking phone, it didn't have camera. So I agree, once phones started coming out with, you know, cameras, that's when sexting started to evolve.
I think it started a long time before 2005. You know, people have internet. They used to cybersex all the time. Now that people text more. Basically, it's a more convenient way of cybersexing. But I think basically probably like 80% of kids these days do it in some form, where they can either send sexual texts or pictures. Everybody does it these days.
He said, do teenagers are teenagers pressured more about a girlfriend or boyfriend?
I heard this. One of my teachers told me that the worst thing that a guy can say to a girl is, "If you love me, you'll do this." They use that against them, and automatically it's like their trump card, to get what they want, to manipulate them any way that they can. They just, yell out, "If you love me, you'll send me this picture. If you care about me, you'll do this for me." And what's the girl gonna do? He's gonna leave her if she doesn't do what he says. So, yeah, they feel pressured.
How can you protect yourself from this type of danger of sexting?
One way you could protect yourself from sexting is avoid those people who are like trying to pressure you into sexting and stuff like that, because those are the wrong people to talk to over the phone and stuff like that, and they might convince you to do something that's negative and mess up your life. So yeah.
Just say no. How hard is that? Nobody can tell you anything other than what you can force yourself to do. Just say no. That's pretty much all as easy as it gets.
Thank you. That's the end of the show. So stay tuned for next show. Teenage abusive relationships. Have a good day.
The hallway. The boy walks through the hallway. He breathes, trying to catch his breath. His heart beats. Why? Why to him? Why did God choose him? Or why did she choose him? He had no choices. Choices were out. He was unaware of the consequences of sex. He had no idea. Ideas were too cool. Look cool in front of his peers. His peers was unaware too. Now he was in a pool of sickness. The sickness of his peers spreading to one another. The boy walks through the hallway. He breathes, trying to catch his breath. His heart beats. Why? Why to him? The hallway.
All right, what I learned in sex ed was basically nothing.
I ain't learned nothing.
One thing we learned is like how you get syphilis and gonorrhea.
I have no idea. It's been so long.
Curriculum. We all just slept, and usually the teacher wasn't in the room at the time, so we really fooled around and didn't pay attention.
I didn't learn anything from sex education. My teacher is unqualified.
I didn't learn anything.
I've learned a little bit, but really not that much.
They did not provide etiquette information.
Hello, my name is Aisha Burrows. I'm 16 years old and I'm currently 6 months pregnant. I did not take sex education. No, I do not feel as if I were at a disadvantage because I am well aware of teen pregnancy and knowledgeable of the consequences. Don't depend on others. Educate yourself.
Always get checked up.
If you are being sexually active, go get tested.
Have safe sex or don't have any at all.
You should always be safe, especially if you have sex.
It's your life, it's your decision.